Okay, so we'd like to begin with a presentation by Michelle Reinhard, the county's fire coordinator, who has information about fire safety and resilience and other topics that are germane to the area. Michelle, can you hear me?
Hi, can
Hi,
you
can
hear
you
me
hear me
okay?
okay?
Yes.
Great.
Great.
Thank you
Thank
all
you
for
all for
joining
joining
tonight.
tonight.
I
I
know that
know that
I'm
I'm
not
not
the
the
primary
primary
reason that
reason
you're
that you're
attending, but
attending,
this
but
is
this
an
is an
excellent
excellent
opportunity
opportunity
to
to
hear
hear
more
more
about
about
our
our
updates
updates
from
from
the
the
county
county
coordinator
coordinator
position, the
position, the
position that
position
I
that I
hold
hold
within the
within the
county.
county.
First, on
First, on
wildfire
wildfire
mitigation. In
mitigation. In
2025, the
2025, the
district
district
advanced its
advanced its
countywide
countywide
wildfire
wildfire
mitigation
mitigation
efforts through
efforts
a
through
new
a new
partnership with
partnership with
Civicor.
Civicor.
This is a
This is a
Pittsburgh-based
Pittsburgh-based
workforce
workforce
development
development
organization.
organization.
The
The
district
district
utilized
utilized
Civicor
Civicor
hand
hand
crew
crew
and
and
equipment to
equipment to
assist with
assist with
community
community
shipping
shipping
events
events
and
and
reducing
reducing
flammability
flammability
and
and
vegetation
vegetation
along our
along our
evacuation
evacuation
routes.
routes.
The
The
work
work
continues in the
continues in the
off-season with
off-season
our
with
Crew
our Crew
12,
12,
Civicor,
Civicor,
and
and
our
our
contractor,
contractor,
Powers
Powers
Forestry.
Forestry.
Can you mute your side, Robert? Yeah.
Thank you. That helps. Next is mapping of wildfire mitigation projects. The mapping of field projects is progressing with the objective of providing insurance companies with the requisite information in incorporating fuel breaks into their catastrophe models. We are following the lead of our CAL FIRE partners through the use of CalMapper datasets and mapping tools, as they have received this request from the insurance companies that conduct catastrophic modeling simulations to identify risk. The updated maps will now encompass the types of mitigation measures implemented, the disposal methods employed for vegetation, and the frequency of treatment maintenance. Next is code adoptions. Fire prevention staff worked with other departments within the county to evaluate local amendments of the 2025 California Fire Code, which went into effect on January 1st of this year, and the new 2025 California Wildland Urban Interface Code, which was in effect as of January 9th of this year. The coordinated effort really highlights a greater consistency and alignment among our jurisdictions. This is important as we move forward because we know that fire knows no bounds. Next is our new fire district website. This will be information important to you all as we pull resources together from various jurisdictions and put them into one place. The refresh website was launched in December of 2025, and it provides easier navigation and information and tools for the public. When we're talking about home hardening or defensible space, it's a one-stop shop for locating information on those topics. In addition, the new website is fully compliant with all applicable 88 regulations and requirements. So the same great address, www.cccfpd.org. Next is an update from October, a Super Bowl assignment. Our hazmat team was selected to be the on-site hazardous materials response team at the upcoming 2026 Super Bowl in Santa Clara. Through the Cal OES deployment program, our hazmat team will be on site throughout the week leading up to the event and during the event itself to provide response and assistance to our Santa Clara partners. Our team is engaged in planning and training for that event. Next, the Fire Risk Reduction Community List, otherwise commonly referred to as the FERCL. This applies specifically to all jurisdictions within the county, especially El Cerrito and Kensington jurisdictions. We submitted our application to be included on the statewide list of local agencies located in the state responsibility or area or high fire hazard severity zone that meets best practices for local fire planning. This application will be reviewed by the Board of Forestry in the next 6 months to update the FERCL. Once it's published, it will be active for 2 years. Why is this important to residents? Being approved for the FERCL could improve our ability to receive certain California grants and provide residents within each jurisdiction discounts in home insurance premiums, as identified by the California Department of Insurance. Next, a Firewise update, also linked to Senate Bill 828. There's been a couple of updates in this area. I know fireworks have been a significant concern for all of our residents in Contra Costa County. So first, I'd like to highlight an assignment. Public Safety Fireworks Enforcement Task Force. Our Assistant Fire Chief and Fire Marshal Chris Bachman was selected to serve on this state fire marshal task force to address challenges of illegal fireworks. As we all know, in Contra Costa County, fireworks are all illegal. He will be representing the California Fire Chiefs Association in his appointment to this committee, and we are hopeful that his insight, perspective, and experience will encourage changes at the state regulatory level to improve safety and reduce the use of illegal fireworks. To further that effort, Deputy Fire Marshal Aubert provided testimony in support of 828 on January 13th before the Senate Governmental Organizations Committee and on January 14th before the Senate Local Government Committee on behalf of the district and the California Fire Chiefs Association. SB 828 really works to strengthen California's fireworks licensing and storage laws by closing regulatory gaps that have allowed unsafe operations to go undetected. Finally, an update on Zone 0. The next regulatory committee is set to meet in March of this year. We anticipate a final language and draft to be moved to the board for adoption following the March meeting. Additionally, I'll place some homeowner resources into the chat. Also, Robert, I'll send a summary of this for your meeting minutes and for the ease of access for the public. With that, I am ready for any questions that anyone has. If anybody has any questions, I still see, Robert, you're on mute, so if somebody's speaking in the room, I can't hear.
Sure.
Yeah, if anybody online wants to comment, raise your hand. If not, we'll. I think there's anyone in the audience. You did a fabulous job, Michelle. So good. No one has.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate the board.
You bet. Thanks for keeping us safe.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to item number 4. CDD, I get to read a lot. CDDP 23-030090 Willamette. The application requests approval of a Kensington Design Review Development Plan with a variance for a 1-foot front yard setback where 20 feet is required, for a retaining wall that exceeds 3 feet in height and 5-foot front yard setback where 20 feet is required, for a new 3,293 square foot single family residence where 3,000 square feet is the maximum gross area, floor area allowed. I'll stop there for just a second. That's actually a misnomer, I think, by the county. We have a floor area ratio that we use to the meaning of it is to look at anything that goes above it. It actually isn't a regulation, so there's no rule that says you can't go above or below it. It's just a trigger within our ordinance that says, hey, if somebody builds something bigger than the lot kind of should have, then it automatically goes to KMAC. But it doesn't mean that we're not granting an exception if we were to approve or deny, or recommend approval or denial. It's just a trigger, if that makes sense. So I just want to be clear. On that one, yes.
Is there a typo, or am I just confused, where it says 1-foot front yard setback and then sorry.
It could be, so go ahead.
Well, maybe I'm just misunderstanding it. It sounds like there's a 1-foot front yard setback, but then it also says a 5-foot front yard setback.
Well,
is that the same?
it's a 5-foot, well, there may be.
I was confused by that as well.
Or is one like the back part?
We'll ask the applicant.
Yeah,
Great.
sorry.
Great one.
Keep going.
And it could be there are 2 things in the front, so we'll find out.
Yeah.
So where 3,000 square foot is the trigger for a meeting on a vacant lot. And the project also includes a tree permit for a code protected tree that was previously removed. And again, gives the location again. So I'll kind of run through and then I'll talk through what the variance covers and what we cover here. But what we'll do is we'll ask the applicant to present their project. We'll then close and KMAC will close for a moment and we'll ask questions to the applicant and get anything cleared away. After that, we will open to the public, so everyone on the phone or on the Zoom and or the audience will be able to ask their questions and comments. We'll try and keep it to 3 minutes. Somebody gets to be my timer tonight. just to keep it, so I'd say keep your,
What point of order?
yes, sir.
This has 2 minutes.
Yeah, we'll go with 3. We'll give it, we got a good.
3, thank you.
It's a nice evening. So we'll keep it square.
Only
So-
3.
Only 3 though. And no, you can't take somebody else's minutes and talk for 6. No sharing, no, we've seen that trick too many times. And then we'll close at that point, and KMAC will discuss amongst ourselves, and then we will render a recommendation. Again, we only recommend denial or approval. We don't actually approve or deny anything. Our recommendations go on to the county. Generally speaking, in 20-some years of this, it looks like they've taken, I think, all but one of our recommendations. So we have a pretty good record. But the county can always make render their own decision. And then we'll make a vote. We have 3 members that will vote tonight, so we have a quorum, which is great, which means we can make a recommendation. And we have 1 abstention because he's a neighbor of the property. We want to make sure that it's a fair process. Moving on from that, I will say I did read through a good number of the comments and notes, and there are a number of things in there around legality, CEQA, and all sorts of other things. KMAC speaks to the overlay ordinance that we have. That's something that was developed for the community of Kensington to kind of respect us and so that our community had a voice. And really what it calls for is the creation of this group. Your ability, whether it's the trigger of, again, the size of the property that's built, or whether or not a neighbor calls for it, then we'll review it. So it kind of gives us, I always argue with the jury of your peers, it's an opportunity for KMAC to give a say and say, hey, that doesn't fit our community, or it doesn't. So I'll read through a little bit about what we'll cover, but many of the legal things, you're more than glad to speak about them during the 3 minutes. They'll be more appropriate as this moves forward with either the Board of Supervisors and or the zoning administrative meeting as it goes to that. But you're welcome to bring it up. Just know that we don't have purview over that. So what we do look at, and I think they've got 2 boxes here, right? So of the ordinance, it's chapter 82-74-2, the combining district. KMAC will review new residential development, which this is to provide reasonable protection for existing residences regarding views, design compatibility, including bulk, size, and height, adequate parking, privacy, access to sunlight, as determined by the provisions within the ordinance. The second thing we will be speaking to is there is a variance, so 26-2, and 82.6, help me, variance zoning requirements. KMAC will review requests for variances from applicable zoning requirements to determine whether the requested variance places the property owner in parity with other similarly situated property owners owning to the lot's particular shape, topography, or other unique factors that do not allow the zoning requirements to be met. A variance may not grant special privilege inconsistent with the limitations on other properties in the vicinity. And I'll do one more reading here. I'll read again what the legal requirements are for a variance. So there are 3 things that we'll have to find to make a recommendation for approval for a variance. One is that, again, that any variance authorized shall not constitute a grant of special privilege inconsistent with limitations on other properties in the vicinity and the respect of the land use district in which the subject property is located. Second is that because of special circumstances applicable to the subject property because of size, shape, topography, location, or surrounding, the strict application of the respective zoning regulations is found to deprive the subject property of rights enjoyed by other properties in the vicinity and within the identical land use district. Lastly, any variance authorized substantially meet the intent and purpose of the respective land use district in which the subject property is located. So that's how we'll be viewing the property, and again, making either a recommendation for denial or approval to the county. So I'll stop there, and I will ask the applicant to, if they could come and present to us, and then if you could speak to the variance piece of it, because that one was confusing. Come on down, yeah, come on, well, come on, you can have the purple chair, we'll make that the
Hot seat.
the hot seat, there you go. Welcome.
Thank you. Can I plug in to show plans, or should I just talk about it?
I think if you could join the Zoom.
Yeah, it'd be easiest to join the Zoom.
You can present, you can share your screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the CC Library Wi-Fi.
Yeah, like that. Where did we get the Zoom? I didn't get any.
Just maybe here, actually. All right, so if you go to Zoom, do you have Zoom on your laptop?
I do.
So the meeting ID is 830.
Give me 1 second, sorry.
Sure.
You know what, I don't think I've joined a meeting on Zoom in years. I don't know
If you
where
got Zoom open, then we can give you open it and we can give you the meeting ID.
Just go oh, yeah. So you're gonna go to join.
I see.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And here, we'll give you the number.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
830
830.
2007 8959.
And you're not
Can I
doing
make
it.
a quick request? Sorry, for those on
For those on
Zoom,
Zoom,
the way it's
the way it's
angled, we can't see the people who are about to speak. Is it
Is it possible
possible?
to adjust that?
Yeah, it's not perfect, but we'll try.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, 13 6.
If you're sharing literature,
Five,
I
five,
imagine
five.
they can look at the materials.
chair.
3 5s.
Okay. Oh, yeah, sure. No, take it out.
We'll move the hot seat in front.
I'd like to do it for the comfort of this nice recording.
It's like being in our living room.
When you join, just make sure you mute yourself.
I am muted.
Great.
And then just go to share screen.
I'm waiting for you, someone to accept me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yep, gotcha. Sorry.
that would help.
Okay. And I think you should be able to share your screen.
Switch that off.
Yeah, there you go.
Does that work for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So this is the site halfway up the Lamette. The site plan shows the,
Can you
Well-
zoom in at all?
Yeah, you'll
we
need
go
to
to
speak
the
up,
larger drawing.
please.
Yeah,
Maybe it's not zoomable.
it is zoomable, but, okay. So, I have to do it on this.
There you
Yeah.
go. Never look at that
How's
screen,
that?
only look at the one on the computer, trust me.
Yeah.
With the lazy killer.
So we're proposing 2 off-street parking spaces and a 2-car garage. To answer someone's question about the setbacks, the site, as you know, is quite steep.
Okay.
And so we need a retaining wall.
Speak up here.
We can't hear you at all.
We need a retaining wall to create those off-street parking spaces.
So the 3-foot one is for the retaining wall,
The 1-foot one is when the retaining wall is 3 feet high.
is where it's 3 feet high, gotcha,
Yeah.
okay.
So
And then the
that-
second one is for the.
The garage,
Garage.
which is actually 5 feet back.
Yeah.
So there are actually two variances
Yeah.
there?
It's one variance.
It's one variance
Setback.
because
There's
it's
two
setback.
parts.
There's 2.
Could we please
Let's-
hold
yeah,
our
let's
questions
let it-
until
let's
he's
let
done
him
with
get
his
through it, and then
presentation?
we can ask questions.
Thank you so much.
And we don't know what part of the drawing is.
Please, why don't you come on up and
closer.
get comfortable?
I think we could have you sit over here. There's plenty of room.
Yeah.
Come on up.
Yeah.
We can all
Sit cozy,
stand.
sit cozy.
Yeah.
I'm plenty comfortable. I can't tell what part of the drawing he's discussing because there's no pointer.
Yeah, we were
Well,
just.
perhaps you
talking
could
about
come up and look at it more closely.
Do you see the pointer right?
Yeah, we can see it here if you come up closer, so come on down and we'll take a look. Gotcha. And if you can, try to speak up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could be like Vanna White if you want.
We won't have people on Zoom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
Got it?
They
Okay.
can zoom though.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So that's the off-street parking and the garage. The stairs go up on the west side of the property. As you know, Willamette slopes up.
Willamette.
So,
Yeah.
Willamette.
Good
Damn
enough.
it.
Let's let him,
I was thinking
let's
that.
let him get through his presentation.
The site slopes up as you go uphill, up
Yep.
Willamette. And so one side of the site, which is the east side, is steeper than the west side. So we put the stair on the west side to access a house that is 2 stories on the back of the lot. Now, would you be explaining what has happened?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So I'll just present to you what it is, and then Jasmine will give you a more detailed
You might be zoomed in, you're still there.
Yeah, you're still zoomed in.
I think you're still doing that, that's fine.
There you go, yeah. There you go.
These are the street level parking spots, the off-street parking on the bottom of the plan and the garage on the top. We had, if you remember, thought we'd need to alter the sidewalk, but what we've done is actually slope the garage floors so that the sidewalk can remain as it is.
Yeah.
So it's a little unorthodox, but it's legal, apparently. The lower level of the main house contains an office, a bedroom, and a family room. There's a mechanical space / basement, which is buried into the hill. And the upper level contains 3 bedrooms and a living space, which is a living, dining, kitchen all in one. There is a deck on the west side with a pergola over it for shade. And
Is that what creates the square footage?
no,
Okay, so it's not counted, doesn't count as square footage?
no, it doesn't.
Okay,
The square footage includes the garage,
okay,
right?
gotcha.
So
Okay,
it's
yeah.
more like a 2,800 square foot house with a 500 square foot garage.
Gotcha, thank you, helpful.
Really quickly on heights, there is a view easement that the property came with for the benefit of the neighbor in the back. And we're below that view easement we talked to the neighbor for a long time, we figured out this would work for them. And so
Okay.
we're below that view
And that's
easement.
the dotted line kind of
That is the
above
dotted
property.
line right here.
Gotcha, okay.
And I don't want to take up too much time. If there's anything I haven't said, you can ask me questions, but that's basically what the house looks like. The garage, the open parking space, the lower level deck, and the lower level and the upper level in context.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we did go below the view easement to accommodate our neighbors. That wasn't, we could still be seen if we actually built throughout.
Yeah, it looked like you left a generous
So
spot.
we lowered the house another
We got down to
2 or
the
3
nearest
feet.
few inches.
So
Okay,
So
perfect.
for us to lower means we have to dig into the hill, because
Mhm.
like some of those rooms are, the back wall's probably 6 feet into the hill,
Gotcha,
so.
okay.
do you want to give us something?
Do you want to give an overview of the
Sure.
project from yourself as well?
Yeah.
Thank you, that was a
Sure,
great overview of the project.
Can I ask a very basic
Yeah,
question?
let's let her get through that, and then we're done,
Oh,
we'll
sorry.
open it, we'll open it up, otherwise we'll be here all night.
So curious about the square footage.
Write them down, though, don't forget.
I did. Hopefully I won't forget that I did.
I have that PDF.
I have those really here.
Oh, you might need are you in yet?
It says joining things.
Okay.
The dot up there. There it is.
You're in?
This meeting is being recorded.
You just make sure you mute yourself and turn off your sound.
Yeah.
Unmuted.
There we go.
So,
All right.
okay, so it's been 4 years waiting to build our home. We purchased a lot in 2022. Oh,
That one's
Better?
not muted, right?
now we are.
Okay.
Okay, better, thanks, Mary.
Yeah.
And in May 2026, it marks 4 years of planning and process. During this time, our kids have grown from 2 to 6, and 6 to 10, and 8 to 12, and 13 to 17. It's a long time. So we've done a lot of responsible preparation and also steady progress in those 4 years. And before designing, we completed all required site studies and confirmed zoning to ensure the project would be safe and compliant and appropriate to the property. And since then, we have worked steadily with our architect, planners, and neighbors. We've gone through multiple reviews and revisions and hearings to move the project forward. And just for context, at our last KMAC hearing, our plans were approved and the layout hasn't changed much. We only had to reach room here because of a formal mistake that wasn't caught before, and that is that our garage design was about 50 square foot too big. So we had to come back to adjust the mistake, which we did. And then we were also asked to mitigate more with our neighbors, which we also did. And now I think the biggest accomplishment is that we are not infringing upon the view for purview 144. And we cleared even more of the side window view for our neighbors at Willamette 255. At the last meeting, we freed up 1 window, and now it's 2. So we invited neighbors to review plans early. We held one-on-one meetings with adjacent property owners. We shared drawings openly and maintained communication. We installed story poles voluntarily and several times to show height and massing. And we refined our designs based on the feedback. So this is where we're now. The revisions were made, the concerns addressed, the design refined, and we're ready to move forward. And we respectfully ask for permission to proceed. Thank you.
Okay. We'll open to KMAC. Questions, comments, feedback? Dave?
So basically, you just shifted everything back a little bit, right? And then shrunk the garage,
That's right.
and then fixed the sidewalk issue. Those are the 3 things that I can tell.
We did the sidewalk issue. We've been here thrice.
Yeah.
So the sidewalk issue we did last time.
This is the 4th time, right?
This is my 3rd time.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, basically, the parking stayed more or less as it is. The garage became a little bit shorter. The house moved up the hill further back and into the hill, freeing up some of the neighbors' windows.
Okay.
And we kept it to a height that was acceptable to the neighbors behind.
Okay. The one other thing that I remember from our last meeting was because of the height issue. I believe you're the neighbor behind, right? You were concerned if they ever put solar panels on the roof. I think that's been addressed by the height as well, if you ever want to put solar panels up there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Nothing really for me other than thank you for following the process, for including your neighbors, your thoughtful consideration of all that and adjustments you made. Sorry that it's taken so long. Although if you wait another year, you want to go off to college. You wouldn't need that big a house. That's it. But thank you for that. And again, apologize for the elongated process, but I do think you've done a thoughtful job of considering the neighbors. So thank you for that. So I'll close there and I'll open to the public. I know we had somebody who had a small child who wanted to go first.
Oh.
Did we?
Do you mind?
Come on down.
Do you mind tapping?
Yeah. You either way, whatever makes you comfortable. Just so we can hear you would be great.
Just a reminder, 3 minutes.
And if you could, just give us your name, your address, and then, keep it to 3 minutes. You don't have to use 3 minutes, so if you don't want.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Arjun Singh. My wife Sarah and I live at 144 Purdue Avenue, which is adjacent to 01 Lemon. And we've been working with Dean and the architect about our concerns with the application. As they mentioned, they put up story poles to help us estimate the view impact on our home. And one of the reasons they put it up several times is, initially realized that it was a little worse than we were hoping for. And after realizing that, they did lower the house design to minimize the impact in the efficient. We've also been able to reach an agreement between us that addresses our additional primary concerns. And with that agreement, we're able to support the proposed design application. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Would anyone else like to speak?
I have one
You got a couple questions, go for it.
Well, I think it just stuck out to me because I was so surprised that a garage was included in the square footage. Is that
It's just,
typical?
yeah, it's standard for the county, so it's kind of funny. And so I would say what probably drew it was the fact, and maybe that is why they reduced it. I don't know if the county did or whatever, because it's new construction. But in general, what would have driven it would have been the floor area ratio. So
usually
we'll just
it's
drive it, but
excluded, right?
it is included. But what you're really looking at is a 2,800 square foot house, which is reasonable for the neighborhood. It's
Right,
probably
right.
similar to adjacent properties. And a 500 square foot separate garage is, again, reasonable. So, yeah. Yes? Let's go on here and then we'll go to the front. Go ahead.
So I have some slides,
Uh-huh.
and I'm in a meeting right now. Should I just share?
Share your screen, yeah.
Sure, that'd be great. And then share your name and address.
Sure. Can I just keep sitting here? Is that okay?
And just
Yeah,
like a
perfect.
Okay. Hi, hello, my name is Jiawen Chen, and this is my husband, Han Qing Zhao. I live at 255 Willamette Avenue, directly next to the vacant lot. So here, I also made a timeline and feel very unfortunate that almost a year and a half later, we're back here at KMAC discussing this project again. Over the past 2 years or 3 years, we have consistently tried to work with a solution that could work for everyone, but not successful. And at the county ZA meeting, the project was sent back to KMAC. The zoning administrator, Mr. Ruben Hernandez, said this. Let me show just the video is now. Oh.
Now it's loading.
There you go.
But yeah, he's generally saying that giving you the opportunity to go back to the KMAC.
Give you the opportunity to come back to the KMAC, is that you will make.
Yeah, you've got it. Your value.
Yeah, you can play that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so generally, he's saying your computer, they
Yeah.
play.
You turn off your sound.
Just turn it off. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Do you want the left one?
We can't, we just probably can't listen to them. It's gonna
Yeah.
cause too much feedback.
But we can see the comments there and see what was made.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So what happened after the meeting? Actually, after the ZA meeting, the owner agreed to discuss alternatives for the first time in the past 2 years with us. We were genuinely happy and even offered to help share some of the costs due to their redesign budget concerns. And there was a plan that architects showed us, we thought is okay and ready to proceed, which we can show later. However, we were informed there would be no redesign before this KMAC meeting. So we were surprised when we saw this email. We thought we would be able to work together, and they told us they will not consider any other designs, and all we can do is talk at KMAC today. So today, we're looking at a proposal that is almost the same as the one on the ZA meeting and is sent back, with the original issues remain unsolved. The house would only be moved a few feet uphill, and it actually became about 300 square feet larger. So let's take a look at the current design and the planning variances. The lots on Willamette Avenue are very difficult to work with by nature. It has steep slope with the steepest as actually the 245 Willamette Avenue. So from the footprints of the houses, you can see that while all the houses try to minimize the disadvantage of the topography, this project takes an unusual approach with this layout. The other designs takes the full width of the lot, and this one is very long, it's skinny, and it spans the entire elevation while leaving a gap between the house and the garage. If we compare it with its neighbor, 245 Willamette Avenue, the blue line shows how 245 did a great job in following the topography. It's efficient, it's safe, it's environmentally friendly, and considerate to the neighborhood. And this is exactly what the Contra Costa County General Plan encourage the new developments to do in Kensington. And then in terms of the setback variance, other homes on Willamette Avenue, including ours, were built without a setback variance, although we have a very similar or not more like steeper slope. A variance requires that the application has a special circumstance that there's no other way to work around. Our property has the same topographical constraints and has a much larger setback. So their constraints is somehow self-imposed because of the gap they're living between the driveway and the house. Also, as a neighbor and a licensed landscape architect myself, we tried to help and provided several alternatives without a setback variance, but the applicant has never considered them. And then before diving into the impacts to our own home, I want to note that the application is actually
I'll give you another
incomplete.
minute. But-
Okay, so my husband can continue.
Okay.
Okay, I would prefer to stand down if that's okay.
You bet.
My name is Han Ting, 255 Willamette Avenue. Thank you again for being here. I want to be very clear that we do not oppose building on this lot. We would welcome a design that respects the community and the environment. Based on the Kensington Planning Ordinance and the Contra Costa County General Plan, our concerns are related to solar access, light, views, and safety. My wife made a solar access study using accurate geolocation using applicant's 3D model and the correct sunlight simulation. Those 3 rooms listed here together are 400 square feet, about 1/3 of our home. Under the current design, we would lose as much as 80% of the direct sunlight and all of the indirect sunlight in 2 rooms. We presented this at the zoning meeting and updated for this meeting because the house moved back a few feet. We also recorded how we conducted the study, and the architect confirmed the methodology. We can review the video later if we have to.
Yeah, please, I share a video.
Yeah,
I don't think
but
it's
we don't have to
gonna work
watch
yet.
them now.
Yeah.
And here's a breakdown. We also have to answer questions about the details of the data. And this is required in the Contra Costa County General Plan. And I quote, ensure new development provides reasonable protection for existing residents regarding views, design compatibility, adequate parking, privacy, and access to sunlight. Similar requirements are also stated in the Kensington Planning Ordinance, which it reads, minimizing impacts on surrounding neighbors. 1/3 of our living area will be dark all year, or at least half a year. What we are asking is not too much, it's only our protected rights in those ordinance and regulations. In terms of the views, the project will block our Golden Gate Bridge view from the master bedroom and kitchen. Views are important to everyone in this area, we all know that. And they are also recognized in the general plan. So the applicant's architect once claimed that there are no alternatives, but the last summer the architect showed us an alternative plan that he believed is feasible. So changes are possible. Besides, it's not fair to let the architect be the only voice on what's possible with no evidence. What the applicant proposed is similar. It's simply pushing the building uphill, and it would make our situation better. The other impacted neighbor and I were both willing to keep working on this design with some small tweaks, and the architect confirmed the feasibility. However, the applicants changed their mind because it adds a few more stairs and refused to consider any other alternatives. I'll wrap up. Another alternative is a terrace design like 245, which follows the topography. And there are more possibilities I'm not going to reiterate.
Got it.
So allow me to wrap up. All the alternative here can guarantee similar GFA while mitigate impacts on the neighbors. The architect claimed they had studied some alternatives, but we just haven't seen any evidence. Finally, we are always ready to compromise. We are not saying we got to keep all the views, we got to keep all the light that we have, but the current situation doesn't respect our rights. Please encourage the applicants to work with us seriously and do not approve the incomplete application. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And maybe I'll stop for a second if you want to respond to that. just if there's anything, I know you've taken the design into consideration. Anything you think you can adjust further, or you've just reached where you can, just moving it back, create an encumbrance, or what are the design decisions behind it?
It's not a small amount that is moved back.
Yeah.
Right? And part of the back and forth with the neighbours was to get it in a position that didn't interfere with the neighbour in the back, but yet gave more access to the side of Andrew and his wife's property. Right. Those windows on their property go quite far back and are quite low to the ground. So, I think the key word in that Kensington Code was reasonable, and I don't know that it's reasonable to suggest that design can't be built because two windows halfway up the property are affected, whereas the front windows and the side windows are not.
And this is a point of clarity before we move on to the next speaker. The separation of the garage doesn't create the impacts, just out of curiosity. So it's not blocking anything.
The garage itself is not.
It's not, okay, because I was gonna say the request for a variance is related to the garage. It's not related to the house itself. So it's only about its position to the front of the street, which, so I just want to be clear, it's not regarding the house. Okay, good deal, okay.
Can you clarify that point? We're here for the garage, not the house, right? Hasn't the house already been approved?
That house, the whole project needs to be approved.
The whole project.
It's
But the original reason for going back and forth for 4 years and the last time now is for the garage, or is it for the whole entire house?
Originally, from what I gather, it was drawn back because of the 50 square foot.
50 square foot. So we're here for 50 square feet on the garage, and now we're
Yeah,
back into it.
I'll give you time slot. Give me a second, I'll give you, if you want to speak, I'll give you a time slot, so let's make sure we're done. But if you'd like to speak, give us your name and address, and then we can give you 3 minutes.
My name's Chris.
Okay.
My address is 146 Lawson.
Cool.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around why the conversation was 50 square feet garage, and now we're talking about the entire house.
It's once you open the envelope, you open the whole envelope. So the whole property becomes reviewable and can be spoken to. So it does open it all back up. But
So it just seems like an endless bureaucratic process to
and
no offense, like clearly when you're working, data is great, but like common sense should prevail.
I'd say directed to us, not to the neighbors, but
community.
Yeah, but I would say
but like
completely understand it, but it is a bureaucratic reason, and unfortunately, when it comes back, the community has the ability to comment on every aspect of the project. And
so if I put solar on my house, and then my neighbor built a house next door, and we didn't take an empty lot into consideration when we put our solar on, I now can come here and argue that my solar is impacted?
Good. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm just asking. I mean, it's an empty lot, right? Like,
yeah, you got it. So you're right. So I'd say I don't think.
But why am I not? If I'm buying a home, and there's an empty lot next door, that's clearly in the disclosures when you buy the house. Hey, there's an empty lot. Anybody could build there.
Yep.
So neighbors clearly signed a document that said, I'm buying this house knowing there's an empty lot next door. Regardless of what happens to that house, it's up to you guys to approve it because you're K-MAC.
Yep.
But again, my point is, this is crazy that we're here for 4 years.
Okay. So I tell you, we're not gonna. I won't disagree with you, but I don't think we're in it. We don't get to decide here. Obviously, we're a neighborhood community group that decides whether or not it meets the requirements.
I can ask questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fair enough. But I'd say that's not for our review. I would say, go meet with John. go meet your state assembly person. Go meet with.
But that's the process.
That's the process. We don't drive the process. We only have an opportunity as a community to speak to it. That's what we do. Yeah. We don't make the rules. We just try and operate through them. So let me finish. So do we have another speaker?
May I?
Yes, you got name, address, and give us your story.
I'm Anthony Knight. Well, I think my write-up here says it. Hello, my name is Anthony Knight. I live at 234 Willamette Avenue, just a short distance downhill from the proposed project known as Zero Willamette. I've spoken in opposition to this project at both prior K-MAC meetings as well as all 3 county hearings
before the zoning administrator. The current application submitted for hearing tonight is essentially no different from the application submitted at the first hearing, and my deep concerns remain. At 3,000 plus square feet, I view this project as a classic case of overbuilding, a structure far too large for the lot it is planned for and quite out of scale with the rest of the immediate neighborhood. Built in addition, typo here. But in addition to the inappropriate size, I have concerns with specific aspects of the plan. First, the variance request for a 5-foot setbacks for the garages. Willamette is one of the narrowest streets in Kensington, but as an alternative side street to the wider and busier Kenyon Avenue, is a favorite of pedestrians and bicyclists. This means seniors out for exercise, moms with strollers, dog walkers, school kids on their way to nearby Hilltop School, and a variety of others. Placing the garages so close to the sidewalk means that drivers must back out blind. This is a safety problem, which adds risk and should not be allowed. Residences, as has been stated, residences all along the north side of Willamette have found alternative solutions to very similar slope constraints without shortening their setbacks to this degree. We suggest that this application not be recommended for approval on the basis of this issue alone, and that the builders be advised that this plan is inappropriate. Second, there are a number of serious issues which concern the very steep slope of the lot. Contra Costa County contracted with Darwin Meyer Associates to do a peer review of the information on the site in June 2023. They called out 5 points which need to be addressed by an updated report. 1, advancing of deeper boreholes. 2, slope stability analysis of the site. 3, updated seismic parameters. 4, a drainage and grading plan. 5, a requirement for comprehensive geotechnical monitoring during construction. Without these 5 points being addressed, the Darwin Myers report says, quote, the application should not be considered complete. The applicant responded by contracting for a report with Summit Engineering, but this report only addresses one of the points. No approval of this application should be considered complete until there is professional confirmation that the minimum safety requirements have been addressed. Third, in 2024, the State of California Department of Conservation published a seismic hazard zone report, which includes Kensington. The report includes a map of Willamette Avenue and the immediate surroundings, and clearly shows that the lots on the north side of the street, including 0 Willamette, are designated as earthquake-induced landslide zones. One more sentence?
You bet, go for it.
The map clearly underscores the need for careful study of safety considerations before undertaking a large-scale building project on the site.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I will just repeat what I said at the beginning. We speak to the Kensington Overlay Ordinance. We don't speak to the design. That's the county's responsibility. Not to say we don't care if the house falls down or all that. But we do.
Something in there about this kind of thing.
But we don't speak to the legalities and the engineering and the math of the application. Mm-hmm. That's for the county to decide whether or not the retaining wall is strong enough, the foundation is strong enough, the piers are deep enough, the lot is too steep. That's all. That's not within our purview. Just to be clear, but definitely it's passed on to the units. Do we have another speaker? We'll let you comment at the end. Go ahead.
Could I sit? Because
You bet. Just your name and address.
good evening, everyone. Can you stand? Don't you stand out one I tried to talk to you.
Do your best. Do your best.
Come up here, Renata.
You get the front Senate. There you go.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Renata Holu. I live at 250 Willamette, across the vacant lot. In opposition to the building project as proposed, I participated in the local KMAC meetings through submission of letters, as well as the three zoning administrator meetings where I submitted letters and spoke in person. There are a number of difficulties with the project. We have been talking about them already here. Scale incompatibility, the blocking of use and sunlight, asking for special privilege in granting a very narrow setback from the sidewalk, and it calls for extensive excavation on a very steep hillside, which has been designated a slide zone on county maps, a serious concern for seismic safety and the stability of the adjacent homes. And thus far, the applicant has ignored the issue of the effects of the congestion that would be caused by the construction and community evacuation routes in times of increasing wildfire risk, and particularly on red flag days. There are 2 points that concern me: the effects of the construction on community safety and the effects on adjacent properties of an inordinately massive excavation on a steep hillside that has been designated as earthquake-induced landslide zones. The construction project proposed for involve activities with large equipment that will add considerable evacuation risks to the community. We think that no plan should be approved until a traffic study has been completed and approved as described by the county general plan. What particularly perplexes me tonight is the updated geotechnical report submitted by Summit Engineering. In light of the fact that 0 Willamette is part of the lots that have been designated as earthquake-induced landslide zones, how can it be ignored that this fact requires additional mitigation as defined in public resources codes? The seismic hazard zone report and the earthquake zones report further underscore the need for careful oversight and safety considerations for any buildings at 0 Willamette. I request that this application not be recommended for approval without a great deal more study. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And yet again, I would just say, just for clarity, again, it's good to note that we don't speak to, the county is responsible for the traffic safety and the safety of the overall project. The other thing I would say, there are rules and regulations the county has for time of day, day of week, and construction, when construction can happen.
Yeah.
That they're responsible, but I know it's not great. And then the other thing I would say, there are some regulations around red flag, but I would say it is not to wash our hands, we do have some value here. It's not within our purview, so it'll be passed on, and I would say the best place to present that would be within the county meeting.
May I
The following meeting. You bet. Yeah.
You are?
Chris Brighton. Yeah.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Uh-huh.
We had a renovation in our street a few years ago, just a renovation. It was a nightmare. And here are people who could speak about that.
Yeah.
And we are extremely concerned about the impact that will have.
Yeah, and I don't diminish the impact and/or your concern. I think they're valid, but they're not within our purview. So we'll speak to the overall Kensington overlay ordinance, but those issues should be, and I agree, addressed by the county, and they have regulations around how and when construction
So
can happen.
are you taking into account the general plan with respect to Kensington?
We do, but
because there it says prioritize mitigation of wildfire and earthquake exposure.
So that piece is not our purview. We're a small segment of it. We're the overlay ordinance, and again, I can read it again so folks know it, but really what we speak to, right, we review residential development with reasonable protection to existing residences regarding views, design compatibility, including bulk, size, and height, right? Adequate parking, privacy, and access to sunlight. We don't address the safety.
Wildfire or you
We do
don't
not.
address
No, we
that?
do not. That's not our purview.
And who will?
The county.
Yep. Zoning administrator?
You got it. And yep.
Zoning administrator, planning commission, board of supervisors.
Yep. Okay. Additional comments? Come on down.
Okay, I'm gonna have to speak very quickly.
You bet.
My name is Elena Carruthers, and I'm going to address the things that you don't cover, but I must.
No, please do.
I live at 234 Willamette Avenue, and I own the house next door at 236 Willamette Avenue. And I have serious concerns about the project, but I'm only going to address one, and that is a letter that my daughter wrote. She grew up on the street And she is a professional geologist in California, and she has reviewed the 2 reports as well as the new map there. Dear council members, I'm writing to express my concern about the proposed construction of a residence on the lot at 0 Willamette. I grew up at 234 Willamette where my parents still live, that's us. So I am quite invested in projects in Kensington and on Willamette in particular. I'm also a licensed geologist in California, and she gives her license number. I'm familiar with the issues in the area. My concern about this project peaked when I read the geologic peer review by Darwin Mayer's Associate, DMA, from June 2023, and the response submitted by Summit Engineering in November 2025. My understanding is that DMA is a disinterested party under contract to Contra Costa County. Neither the county nor DMA have reasons to either promote or hinder this project. For me, that gives additional credence to the concerns mentioned in the report. The DMA report requested an updated geotechnical report and specifically called out 5 points that Anthony has already mentioned. Without these 5 points being addressed, DMA says the application should not be considered complete. There are other parts of the application that are incomplete as well. Summit Engineering is contracted to the property owners and is therefore inherently biased toward their goals. Their geotechnical report update for parcel 09, and it says 250 Willamette, which is where Renata lives and not the property, addresses just one of the 5 points. In my personal and professional opinion, the updated geotechnical report does not meet the minimum safety requirements, and therefore KMAC should not recommend approval of the application at this time. Furthermore, in the time between when the DMA report was written and when the Summit Engineering responded, the California Geological Survey Department of Conservation published the Seismic Hazard Zone Report for the Richmond, Mare Island, and San Quentin 7.5-minute quadrangles, Contra Costa County, California, 2024, and the associated map, which is that, published on February 22nd, 2024. The static map is and its interactive digital counterpart, earthquake zones of the required investigation, clearly show that the lots on the north side of Willamette Avenue, including 0 Willamette, are designated as earthquake-induced landslide zones. This designation triggers the requirement for additional mitigation as defined in Public Resources Code 2693C. Information in the Seismic Hazard Zone Report and the earthquake zones of required investigation map further underscore the need for careful study, oversight, and safety consideration for any building projects at 0 Willamette. Building new structures without adhering to proper safety considerations can have catastrophic impacts. Slope failure would endanger both residents of the home and also adjacent homes, particularly those upslope. It is in the interest of public safety for all applicable requirements to be addressed before the project moves forward. Sincerely, Samantha Carruthers Knight. And I will give a copy of this to each of you.
Thank you.
With the map, actually.
Yeah.
Lena, did you email? You didn't email
I
this.
didn't even get a chance to do that. But I can.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
It would be nice. I'll make sure it's in the packet.
I'd be happy to email it.
Yes.
Who should I email it to?
Right around.
To me, please.
Okay.
When those surveys are done, do they do surveys on every other home on that
They
street?
they don't need to because they're not empty lots. They're already done deals.
Yeah, so that's the issue.
Okay, so, yeah, we're good. So, does anyone else have a comment that hasn't spoken? Go for it. Name, rank, and serial number, and then,
Oh my gosh, General Wolter.
there you go.
There we go, okay, Lynn Wolter, I live at 207 Willamette Avenue. I was Supervisor John Joya's appointment to the overlay committee when it was established.
You want to come back? We got an opening if you want.
No,
I'm just saying, we have an opening.
Not KMAC, the overlay committee, which was then called the Small Lot Ordinance Committee.
Good.
I was fortunate enough to serve with Jim Carmen, who led this project to completion. It was an honor to work with him. reason that that committee was established was because of exactly this kind of project. What was then being referred to as the McMansion. And what was happening in Kensington was that adorable little cottages were being scraped to the ground, and in its stead, side lot setback to side lot setback, front yard setback to back setback was being filled, and 3 stories tall, people who had paid for views just even a year earlier lost their views with absolutely no recourse and no compensation for their loss. So we focused on bulk, view, sunlight, square footage, and variance issues. And so of course, now here we have this project back yet again. It's like Groundhog Day. It just keeps coming up, coming up, coming up, and coming up, hoping that we'll all get tired and go away. We won't. This is a project that is so out of scale for our community, so inappropriate for the next door neighbors, so inappropriate for the neighbors across the street, and for us down the street, we don't even get notices, but this thing is going to loom far above every other house upward of us on Upper Willamette Avenue. So I would beseech you, based on the overlay ordinance, that you not approve this. It is so inappropriate for Kensington, for this specific neighborhood. If they want to build a great big house, buy an empty lot in El Cerrito, there is a really good reason that this lot has not been built on in the 40 years I've lived in this house. And it's because it is a slide problem. Nobody else would touch it because they knew they couldn't get the slide part of the problem addressed and build a house there. So, you know, at your own risk, you've been notified here by people who have expertise. This is a bad lot. It's not been built on for a long time because of that. And then you want to put this great big house up there that none of the neighbors want. And why? Why would you do that on those 2 things alone? So I beseech you, follow the overlay ordinance with respect to this building. No variance given. Again, as was pointed out, the danger to people walking by, they won't see anybody before they're on top of them in the sidewalk. And just overall, this thing is so different from the house downhill from it, which has been pointed out, just gradually goes up the slope with the contour of the mountain. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Emily Pullman, I am 140 Purdue, so I am the lot directly behind. My back fence shares a lot with this Purdue. So my understanding, like, that when this was kicked back from the county was that it was a miscalculation in the garage, but also that, like, go back, talk to your neighbors. And like this meeting, like, man, I've been at a few of these and the neighbors are not buying it. Like, people are very concerned. People are not happy. Like, it does not seem like you guys have been able to get buy-in. And so I think, like, gotta figure that out. The other question, like, are you putting an ADU? Is that the plan above behind the garage? Is that open spot?
I mean, at this moment in time, the only thing we're asking is to build out the house as is.
Do you have a plan to build the ADU?
I don't know if you have ideas.
Okay. I've heard that there's been records of, like, a plan to build this ADU there, which is unique to me because, like, the state does allow ADUs. They're excluded from lot requirements, yes. This is a very unique situation, though, because you are requesting a lot or variance to go exceed the property or, like, the allowable developable footprint with the known intent and, like, a design that allows the building of this ADU. So when I look at that, it's kind of a sneak around. It's the way I view it. Your bigger house got kicked back, so now it's an ADU being put here. Like, the design is intended to do that. So I see this now as not necessarily a 3,300 square foot home. It's essentially, it could be a 3,900 square foot home. And I have a small house, I have kids, it's small, it's cozy, like that's Kensington, that's where we live. So I like the small, I don't really want to start putting in massive houses on small lots, so I'm worried. Lots, stability, all of that, like my house will go down if your house goes down. I assume the county will take care of that, but I'm worried. And also I walk that street, I take my kids down that street, I drive that street every day. I have been almost taken out on my bike, walking like multiple times, cars coming out of driveways, it is sketchy. A 1 foot variance, like come on. A 5 foot variance also, like there's ways to build it that doesn't require that, really straightforward. You have the opportunity to build something better, so why not build something better? That's all I've got to say.
Awesome, thank you. Additional comments in the room before we go to the Zoom call?
I'm still really intrigued by this process. Like I live on the lot.
Yeah,
please come and give public
ask for comments.
Let us, but yeah, you've had a chance to speak, so you've had your minute.
Because the homes on Lawson that have been built have all been like 4,000 square feet.
If you'd like to talk about the process, we'd be glad to share it, but it's not related to this project.
It's just
so if you do want to, we can chat after and we can go through the process, but there's nothing we can do about the process. We don't decide on it, make decisions on it.
I just do ask for comments, so I
Yep.
just comment.
Yep. So anyone who hasn't spoken in the room would like to comment. So from a Zoom perspective, if you would like to speak, please raise your hand. Robert, anybody out there?
We just have.
There we go.
Maybe I could just jump in that the street on 2 minute. Our concerns with being blocked in terms of the street and things like hours.
Can you fix
the
your
room.
mic?
It's the room that you need to mute. Robert Rogers.
Everyone has to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you guys can hear me okay now? Okay. Yeah, so this is Jeff and Netta. We just live down the street on 240 Willamette. Our concerns are just about being blocked in terms of using the street during the construction, what that impact will look like, maybe which hours of the day, just overall impact, and maybe what could be the duration of this project and when is the earliest it could start. So some really basic questions. Thank you.
See, again, the county does post what the construction hours, but maybe we'll ask you, do you guys have any idea of how long you think the project, do you have a timeline for what you think the project will be start to finish? Fair question.
We need to get approval so we have a stop date. And the
Yeah,
stop
right,
date, depending on when that stop date is, that's the length of the project, right?
Yeah,
Because if it's
how long do you think construction will take once approved and you hit the shovel, hit the ground?
A year and a half.
Year and a half. So it could be as much as a year and a half is the short answer. But again, there is no requirement within the county of how long it takes you to build your house. But again, there are some regulations, traffic safety, all of those laws and rules need to be followed. So we'd assume that the applicant would follow those rules.
Thank you. And what about blocking of the street? Is there any expectations there? We have no idea yet.
What's the concern around parking?
When the construction is happening, are they going to completely block off Willamette? Like, are we not going to have access to our home via vehicle?
Yeah, go ahead. Generally speaking, again, you're going to have to call KPD on that one. But generally speaking, you can't block the entire avenue during construction all the time. There may be a moment when there's a concrete truck there or something that will no doubt block the street. I'm sure during it there'll be some periods of delivery, just like there was when the delivery person delivered my refrigerator last week. I'm on Stanford and nobody could pass, but they know how to honk. So I'd say, there's nothing we can do about that. Those are the realities of living on small streets and getting deliveries and other stuff. But in general, no, it is not permitted to block a street for an extended period of time without notification. And theoretically, your parking should remain the same during that time period.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Thank you for the comment.
If I could just make it clear, the open space garage and the garage, those will probably be excavated first. That'll allow us a work platform to be off the street. So
Gotcha.
we can do a lot of things where we're not having to be in the street.
Fair. Deliveries, et cetera. Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else online that would like to speak?
Could I ask a
Yep.
question? So you do Larson,
Yep.
276 Willamette, so I'm
Okay, up the street.
half a block up
Yep.
the street. You do consider the setback in whether or not you approve it.
We can assess the reasonableness of the request for the setback. And what I would say is that in relation, because I know there's been a few comments, that in relation to the 1 foot setback, it's for a retaining wall. So it's not necessarily related to the driveway.
Unreasonable
Yeah.
setback.
Yep.
I'm a walker, and I cannot imagine walking down that street and all of a sudden the garage door goes up and an electric car with no sound comes out. They'd be on top of me before I could move.
Yes.
And there's a reason why we made that regulation that there has to be a setback, and it's for safety.
Gotcha. Okay, fair. Well, we'll get to, we'll let you, once we're all done, we'll let you come, we're getting there. Okay, I think that concludes, I think we've gotten everybody in the room. So I will close then for public comment, and I would ask the applicant maybe to respond.
Very short
And you don't have to respond to any of it, you don't have to, you can respond to all of it, you don't have to speak to your intent for any of whatever it is, but
Okay.
if you would like to respond, that would be great.
Yeah, just a few general points about the setback. We have talked about the setback and we've gone back and forth a little bit and we've increased it. And yes, there is the retaining wall. But also there's the option, because we hear everybody's concern, I don't want to hit anybody with my car driving out of the garage. I mean, that's the intent is to be thoughtful. So there is possibilities of putting a screen in the garage. There's possibilities of putting little cameras on the corner to make sure that there's additional warning signs or to make people feel more safe. As far as like earthquake safety goes, I think our house will be the most modern house on the block and might even be the last one standing after an earthquake. I mean, that's drastically spoken, but we have to follow new rules and regulations that are all up to date. We don't want to put anyone at risk. That's just, I hope that's very clear. Nobody here is building a house to put anyone at risk. We can't have a house without construction. That's unfortunate. And I think that's like two of the points that I wanted to address. And as far as like the sliding area goes, earthquake area, yes, of course, we're going to talk with everybody we have to talk to and comply just as we did in the past too.
Just on that note, the building plans have to be approved by the
By the
building
county,
department,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The building department has a peer review to check structure, they check calculations, they check varying loads. It's not like we get out there with hammers and nails and just do anything we want. It's very regulated. If I could just say one thing about this, maybe a good example, the garage. We saw photographs of other driveways. We cannot build those driveways anymore. Those are not to code. A new driveway has, and if you notice on Huntrin's section PDF of the car going up the slope, there are distances that can only have a certain slope, and then you can slope up. To push that garage further, since we can't go up that hill because of the slope, we can only push the garage further into the hill. I don't see how that mitigates the issue because you're essentially creating a tunnel, right? So the idea that you can have this magical 20-foot setback and be able to see anything just can't exist. And I bring that up as an example to say that this isn't the one thought been scribbled on a napkin and put forward to you. There's a lot in it and a lot considered. And we have considered these other notions that people have brought up and they just don't work.
Fair. Okay. Thank you.
I've looked at other driveways on the street, and granted their garages are set back, but they have bushes and fences that are right up to the sidewalk, so they're just as blind as if their garage was right on the set. And I would say almost half of them are that way. You know, we're talking about bushes 6 feet high, fences 6 feet high, so there's no way you can see someone coming down the street until you get your car out onto the sidewalk. So it's the same problem. They just don't. Their garage doesn't just happen to be on the. They got bushes and things in the way.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, if you're sitting in a car and there's a 6-foot bush and you're trying to back out, you can't see
Yeah, I mean, I live there, I don't know any 6-foot bushes in the
Well, I went and
I'm not gonna get into that.
Yeah, so we get it, so there are other obstructions.
I personally hate my situation. I mean, I bought the house, and then the first time I started pulling out of the garage during school, and I'm definitely further back than you are. It's a little scary, because the kids are smart and they stop, but there's been a couple times I'm like, well, thank God they stopped, because like I didn't see them right away, and part of that was my own fault.
Okay, well, and yeah, so we'll close public comment at this point, and then maybe we'll talk amongst ourselves, and we may ask you some questions as well. But I know you'll abstain, but you questions, comments, feedback,
No,
your input's valid. So
I've given comments on previous rounds.
okay, okay. I didn't. Okay.
Sorry.
Dave, what do you got for us?
I have no questions.
All right.
So.
Comments, questions?
Yeah, I've been at every single meeting when we've discussed this project.
I missed this. Sounds good.
Yeah, I've been every single one of them. I've looked at every single set of plans. I think that, like, there was a set of plans that were originally submitted that were, I think the building was a 5,000 square foot at first. You know, the very first one, you pulled it, you know, to have more conversations. I think you submitted another one and then pulled it again to have more conversations. So I think I've looked at now 6 sets of plans, I think, for this project. So, like, I think that, Chris, you've said it best many times when we've had meetings about other properties that have been more contentious with neighbors, and that is basically that when, like, in many cases, people walk out of this process and nobody's super happy, right? It basically, there's lots of compromises that happen that basically make it so that, is it what the people who want to build on the property want? No. Is it what the neighbors want? No. But it's something that is workable and it basically can happen, right? Based on what our purview as a group look at, say, like, yes, this is something that's reasonable given what we're allowed to look at, right? And so I think that we're hitting that one here, right? Because, like, when we discussed this last time, this group approved it, right? And there have been significant modifications into this that have accommodated some of the comments that were made last time, particularly for the direct uphill neighbors, where, like, before the building mass came right up, and so basically there was more significant impact in your light, right? It seems a significant accommodation has been made there. It's not exactly what you want, and we get why you don't like that. We get there's views and sunlight that will impact your life, but there's been they're not getting everything they want. You're not getting everything that you want either, right? So it's a nobody wins perfectly, but it's something that is it reasonable? Yeah, I think it's probably reasonable given the accommodations that have been made, right? So, like, in this situation, like, we wouldn't even be looking at this again if there wasn't a mistake. You know, I don't think it would change. It definitely doesn't change my vote in terms of what we came through last time. I don't know if it changes any of the other. Since you weren't here, you didn't have a vote last time, so you get to be a fresh set of eyes. You know, but like, it's a very, like, the house is significantly smaller than what was originally planned to be built. It's like, I do know that a lot of conversations have happened. I don't think that everybody likes the outcome of those conversations. Some of the engagement might not have been perfect, but honestly, like, I will tell you as neighbors, the amount of engagement that you're getting on this project is significantly higher than most other projects that we've reviewed, like by orders of magnitude. There are situations where the process breaks down much earlier. The people who are building the house or doing the addition or doing whatever it is, they disengage much early in the process and do not, and no longer consider what the neighbors want, and then a lot of the work is done here, right? And so, like, you have a set of neighbors here that is trying to work with you. You're not going to get everything that you want, right? But you're likely to have you have people here that seem to want to talk to you, right? And so I would encourage everybody to continue to try and talk, even if you're not getting what you want exactly, right? And I get the concerns about safety and whatnot. Again, we can't talk about that, but in terms of the bulk size of this residence, like just under 3,000 square feet, there are a lot of homes in Kensington that are that size. A lot of homes, okay?
Not on Willamette Avenue.
Do let him finish your closing.
Understood. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, in terms of we're looking at the community it's a size that we see a lot.
Neighborhood, not community.
We get it, we get it, we
It
get it.
addresses neighborhood.
Let finish, but yeah. Okay.
So, and again, what has been set up in the past for, like, we can't hold our community in stasis, okay? And so, like, yes, there are other things that have been built at different times on this street that are of a different size. This is one that, like, this is what's being built now, you know, and the accommodations I feel are reasonable. Okay, so that's me.
And you set the whole street
Yeah,
up to go to that size in the next 5 years.
There's no reason that would happen, but again, we're closed to public comment, so I'd say, would anyone like to, I said we've got to address two things. We've got to address the development project itself and then the variance. Would somebody like to take a swing at it and make a recommendation for?
I'll move to recommend approval of CDDP 23_03009, I'm in my glasses, 0 Lamb Avenue.
Okay, and on the variance as well?
I move to recommend approval based on the variance as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstention? There you go. So you move forward to the county. What I would say, I know there's still a number of comments and concerns around safety, engineering, all of that. Those are all fair comments to take forward to the zoning administrator and the meetings that follow on beyond this. And I'll just echo what you said. For the last 21 years I've been living with the ordinance you created, which is a wonderful one. And I do think it represents Kensington very well. And I do think it respects the community. And I think, as you've said, we try to find somewhere in the middle. I don't think the property is unreasonable in its size. The triggers at 3,000 square feet. The home is really 2,800 square feet, as you said. It's far below the 5,000 square feet you started out with. So I think they've made reasonable accommodations, and I'm glad to chat afterwards too. But I think you've done a reasonable job, and it'll be up to the county to determine whether it's safe, how you can construct it, all of that other stuff. But you'll move forward to the county, and I think the next stop will be the zoning administration, right?
Yes.
Yep. And so again, for those that want to comment and move forward, I would say that would be the opportunity to bring these same things up, but more importantly, the safety issues, the engineering issues, the soil issues, and all those other things, because we don't have the purview to speak to it.
I have a procedural question.
Sure.
When they go forward with the ADU that they made clear that they intended to do with their first set of plans, do they have to come back to you? Or
They'll have to come back, but I mean, in all honesty, and I hate to sound so lame, and I appreciate the ordinance that you all built, and I think we've done. I've been doing this for 21 years. I don't know how I got tricked into it, but I did. I think what we try and be is reasonable. We live in Kensington. I've got a great coupon house. I can pass muster to my neighbor because that's how much my setback is. I think we live here and understand it. It's ignorance, but it's really going to be entirely up to them how they decide to do it. Going forward.
So they get to do an ADU regardless?
If they do, if we will view it, it will come to us because someone will say, hey, they're building an ADU. But our ability to say yes or no based on the new California regulations, we'll have no say. But I can't, unfortunately, we can't, I can't view to the future.
Yeah.
I can't say, no, you can't build one because it's legally, they can build one.
So you've just given them carte blanche to go ahead with a house plus an ADU.
Well, no, there's no, this plan does not ask for an ADU, and I can't assume they will, they won't, unfortunately or fortunately, right? I can't assume they will or won't go forward with one in the future, just as none of us can know if any of our neighbors will want to build one tomorrow. And that's the challenge with ADUs, quite frankly, is we have absolutely no say in it at this point.
If they wanted to, they could build a very small house right on there and then build 5 ADUs on it and be very difficult for us to do anything about it.
So we do, hopefully you all have seen value in what we provide. I think we do provide eyes and ears to the county projects that have come through. I think we've done, this one's taken an extra amount of time, but typically they go back and forth. I do think that the project has been very well adjusted. Again, it won't be perfect, but we've done the best that we could with the tools, the resources, and the limits that we have within what we can, either make a recommendation or denial.
And for clarification, these things are meant to apply to the neighborhood.
Correct.
Not
Absolutely.
the community as a whole.
Absolutely, I understand that. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Can I ask a process question also?
Sure.
So when you apply for a building permit, you submit your documents, does it need to be a complete set to go to KMAC? Or like, at what point does your review happen?
Eventually, to come to us theoretically, the plan should be complete, and when so the design plan should be complete. The overall engineering and other things may be followed on by the county, but
Okay.
overall, what we get is the design plan, roughly how it looks, how it sets in the property, height,
So
width, and the bulk size.
that part of this application is complete, it's just the engineering.
Correct, the
design
engineering
that's
stuff and
being
all that is, everything is all stuff the county.
And is that normal for you guys to approve it before the engineering is?
Absolutely, well, whether it is or isn't, it's not within our purview, so it
Okay.
wouldn't matter if they did it before or did it after. We take a look at it and say, hey, is that reasonable for Kensington? Yes or no, what accommodations could we make? And we try to be the intermediary. The other option is it goes straight to the county, and nobody who lives in Kensington, and we've seen that before, where they just get stamped. And quite frankly, if there weren't a variance here, this would have just gone straight to the county.
But grading is part of the design.
Yeah,
There's no grading.
and that'll be part of
What's
the
the
physical side.
purpose
That'll
of
be
this
for the
checklist?
county to speak to, because again, we don't speak to whether the grade is suitable for build or not. That's a decision of the county, so your argument would be with the county.
So you don't need a grading plan to submit to KMAC?
I don't know what the process is, but we go out and look at that, and it's not, we assume if it comes from the county is saying, hey, this thing is good to go.
It's like
Or they'll take it back.
architectural,
Correct.
okay.
Can I make
Correct.
a
Yeah.
little distinction? So we first have to ask for a planning permit, and then we ask for a building
Yep.
permit. And that's what that entails.
Yep.
So KMAC looks at planning permit?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, then
So basically bulk size, width, where it's set on the property, all that. And then a building permit will require that they meet all of the safety requirements. So I will close with that, and I think, does that get our agenda?
I think so, I move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, all in favor? You can vote on that one. All right, thank you all for your input.
Did you get a car?
Huh?
Did you get a car?